these terrors. And it's like, it feels like as if somebody was gripping my... these terrors. And it's like, it feels like as if somebody was gripping my throat. Not tremors, worse than tremors. They're these terrors. Anyways, night.
From the tawny lights, from the rainy nights, from the imagination, finding itself and more than itself, alone and more than alone, at the bottom of the well, where the moon lives. Can you pull me into December? A lowland of space, a reception of space, towering of shadows, of clouds blown upon clouds, over new ground, new made, under heavy December footsteps. The only way to live. The flawed moon acts on the truth and makes an autumn of tentative silences. You lived, but somewhere else your presence touched others, ring upon ring, and changed. Did you think I would not change? Black moon turns away, its work done. A tenderness, unspoken autumn. We are faithful only to the imagination. What the imagination seizes as beauty must be truth. What holds you to what you see of me is that grasp alone.
The poem Everything That Acts is Actual by Denise Levertov is a complex, delicate poem so full of meaning that, to put it in another context, has about as much rereading value as Pink Floyd's The Wall has replaying value. The poem is addressed to a very inspirational character in the speaker's life, most likely a former lover or very close friend, an idea strengthened by the end of the last stanza. What the imagination seizes as beauty must be true. What holds you to what you see of me is that grasp alone. This as a whole is very personal, too personal for simply an idol, somebody the speaker admired. However, the second to last stanza brings in a twist the poem had not shown before. You lived, but somewhere else your presence touched others, ring upon ring, and changed. Do you think I would not change? Here, the reader is told, through the use of the past tense of lived, that the addressee is dead, and despite this, has really marked the speaker's life, which almost makes the poem a eulogy. The persona in the poem was somebody very close to the addressee, as shown by the intimacy of the sentences directed specifically at them. When the speaker shows that the addressee is dead, it shines a new light on the first stanza, the last sentence of which is enjammed into the second stanza. From the imagination, finding itself and more than itself, alone and more than alone, at the bottom of the well where the moon lives. Can you pull me into December? The first part of this references how the speaker turns to themselves in their grief, to their imagination, as their loneliness becomes more and more intense, as they slowly separate themselves from everybody else. The second part is a reference to a grave, how the speaker's moon, the addressee, lives at the bottom of a well, a grave. Can You Pull Me Into December is a reference to December as the final month of the year, final frontier of sorts. And being pulled into December is, in a way, dying to join their friend in the end. Throughout the poem, there are various references to light and to the moon, and these combine to reference the night. In various cultures and mythi throughout the world, the night is associated with death. However, in the poem, unlike everywhere else, the night's not a place of monsters and terrors. It's often mentioned as a place of comfort. Everything That Acts Is Actually, by Denise Levertov, is a poem that deals with loss, grief, and loneliness, but also with hope and letting go.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
So much space. Need to see it all. I'm in space. I'm in space. I'm in space.
The end.